Hey, what's up guys? Tom back here for another video. It's been a little while since my last update video, so I figured I'd come on and make one. I'm still pretty rusty at making videos, so I wanted to get back in the groove of it again. So this is kind of what I've been spinning, slash kind of what I picked up since my last video, which was like a year ago, maybe something like that. Hope you guys are doing good. This is what's playing in the background. Anno Luz, or Anno Luz, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It's Brazilian, sort of a Brazilian progressive electronic record. I guess the best way to describe it. It's a duo, which I wasn't familiar with. From '88, so a little bit later, but this is very good. And from what I understand, this is the only thing these guys ever recorded. And then they never played live, didn't do much other stuff from this, and then kind of went their own separate ways. So I'm not sure if they did anything else. It's on the Sohm Interior label. Really good though, definitely worth grabbing if you can find it in the States for a decent price. So this next one I wanted to do this for the Acid Archives series initially, but it's not in the Acid Archives Volume 2 book. Might be in the first one, I'm not sure, but it's not the second one, so I figured I would just share it here. Morning Sky, Sea of Dreams. This is a beautiful record. I love this record. I definitely wanted to show it at some point. Beautiful mix of jazz fusion, jazz rock, progressive rock from '76 on, I think it's just a private press. I don't think it's actually on, no label, just a plain label there. But I love the flute work, flute and singing from Barbara London. She's got a great voice and beautiful flute. Fantastic record, definitely check this out if you can. Now you can stream it online, but I'm not sure how easy it is to find. These guys were from New Hampshire, I believe. Yeah, somewhere northeast. I think it's New Hampshire. But there's the crew right there. I picked this up from Chris Cole. Thank you, Chris. This is definitely one of my favorite records that I grabbed off you. Definitely really enjoying this. I play it quite a bit. Really cool cover too. I really like that cover. Next up, some Latin stuff. I don't see a lot of Latin stuff, unfortunately, around here. Kind of few and far between. So this one I found at local flea market, which was really cool. Got it for a really good price, basically a steal. Joe Bataan, St. Latin's Day Massacre from '72 on Fania. Some writing on the label there, and jacket's a bit beat. It's got a split on top. It's tape, but who cares? Original mono. Really cool. Nice mix of Latin soul, funky salsa. Joe Bataan on piano, vibes, and vocals. And he sings in English on this, which I guess some people aren't the biggest fan of. If I understand, it didn't bother me. I really don't care. I don't see why that matters. But Wish You Love, parts 1 and 2, probably my favorite. One of my favorite tracks on here. The whole record's fantastic, but really cool. We're happy to have any kind of more Latin stuff in my collection because I never see it. Really killer cover on this. I love the cover on this. Really cool. Hopefully I'll be able to find some more, but you never know. If I do find it, it's always beat and expensive. So next up, I found this probably like 6 months back at one of my local stores. Gat Mangione Trio, Diana and the Autumn Wind. This is from '68 on the GRC label. Gat Mangione from upstate New York. I'm not sure from where exactly, but I know it's upstate New York somewhere. Rochester, maybe somewhere around there. But really good. Probably best well known for being sampled, I guess. Especially that Diana and Autumn Wind track sampled by Dilla. It's not really a secret, everybody knows. So Slum Village. But excellent jazz record of its own right. Sort of big band, funky jazz, Latin bossa nova vibes on here as well. His brother Chuck Mangione plays on this. If you didn't know, Gat Mangione's Chuck Mangione's brother, obviously the better musician, in my opinion at least. Gat Mangione on piano, electric piano, and organ. Tony Levin on bass, electric bass. Steve Gadd on drums. Although, even though it's called a trio, it's not really a trio. There's more players on here. Joe LaBarbera on drums on one track, and then Dewey Mandingo on congas on one track, and there's a whole slew of other players on here, including Chuck Mangione, Clark Terry on trumpet. Who else we got? I know there's other players. Frank West on tenor sax. I think Joe Farrell played on this. Yep, Joe Farrell sax. So Randy Breckenstein on flute. Sam Brown on guitar. Just a bunch of people on this. Got this for a decent price. Cover's a little bit messed up. It's got some tape there, a tear, and Kim wrote her name on the front. So thank you, Kim, for doing that. And wanted me to get this for basically a steal. So got Mangione. Wanted this forever. Happy to cross it off the list finally. This next one I found at the last FMU. Definitely one of my favorite finds from FMU. Next one's coming up in November, and I'm definitely planning on going. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. Jasis, Spontaneous Improvisation. I think it's how you pronounce it. I've never actually heard it pronounced, but I think it's pronounced Jasis. But it stands for the Jazz Art Spontaneous Improvisation Synthesis. So I see why they kind of shortened that. Well, a group started by this guy right here, Milt Simmons, who was a vibraphonist. Well, he's also an artist, painter. He's got plenty of shows, a few galleries he's ran with his own art, dance choreographer. Kind of a crazy story. He's got a pretty fully fleshed out background with the life. Unfortunately, he passed away shortly after this record was released, so it's pretty sad. From what I understand, he was one of the first African Americans, or just, I'm not sure if one of the first guys, but definitely African Americans to get a sponsorship from Disney to go study art there. But once they found out he was black, they basically pulled it and said no, so it's pretty fucked. And then he just did his own thing, started some art studios, and was an amazing musician. So the music is basically modal, jazz, I guess, improvisational, classical Indian music, Asian music. So it's 3 improvisations, 3 tracks. One's based on an East Indian raga, one's based on the Spanish, and one's based on a Japanese mode. So all modal jazz. Milt Simmons on vibes, like I said, Paul Dusenberry on piano, and then Milt Gerard on bass, Jimmy Williams on percussion. So quartet, and then composed, all the tracks are composed by Milton Simmons. Great record, definitely stream it. I don't think it's too easy to find on the Topaz label, which I think is like a smaller label out of Seattle, Pacific Northwest. I don't think I mentioned that's where he was from. He was from the Seattle area, Pacific Northwest. But I know he lived in San Diego for a while too, had an art gallery there. But love this record, really, really good. Really happy to have that. Was able to knock off this Strata-East I was missing off my list. Charles Sullivan, Genesis, kind of a, I guess maybe a bit overlooked on the label. Don't hear too many people talk about it. From '74, sort of post-bop, funky fusion, modal. Side B is definitely my favorite side. Just 2 tracks, 1 shorter track, 1 longer track. Starts off the track Now I'll Sleep with Dee Dee Bridgewater on vocals, Stanley Cowell piano, and then Charles Sullivan comes on trumpet at the end to finish it off. Beautiful, sad track about suicide, but just a great, kind of gloomy, dark, but very, very nice. And then the last track's the title track, Genesis, 17-minute track, just a kind of Afro jazz, modal jazz workout. Everyone just going off, fantastic. Great lineup on this too. I checked out the lineup. Stanley Cowell, Alex Blake, Dee Dee Bridgewater, Sonny Fortune, Alphonse Mouzon, Lawrence Killian, Anthony Jackson, Billy Hart. Huge lineup and more. So happy to have that one. Just a regular Strata-East label, but got it for a somewhat decent price too, because it's got some pen on the back, and then someone stuck that sticker there. I think it was a radio station copy, maybe. Slowly kind of starting to fill in the Strata-East collection. Almost done. I think we'll need like a handful more maybe to finish it off, which are the toughest ones to find, unfortunately. One of the only African records I ever had, kind of hard to find. Asona, Pop Highlife band, excuse me. This is from the 80s, I want to say mid 80s, 85 maybe? Yeah, 85. On the Makossa label. Yeah, once again, kind of same with the Latin things. Every time I see any kind of African records, they're always beat to shit. and expensive. No surprise, right? But this is from Ghana, Ghanan, sort of boogie, Highlife. Some tracks are definitely more disco vibe-ish, but it's all still good. I believe this is the only record these guys put out. I think actually in the US while they were on tour, they decided to record this, probably because they had better recording studios to work with, I'm assuming. I think that was what I read somewhere. But very good. If you like African kind of funk, Highlife, definitely check that out. Wish I could find more African stuff, because I do like it, but it's just tough to find. Next up, Joachim Kühn, featuring Alphonse, Mouzon, Hip Elegy from '76 on MPS. So the whole lineup on this is killer, actually. Alphonse, Mouzon, Philip Catherine, Terra Masahino, John Lee, Nana Vasconcelos. Great sort of jazz rock, but gets pretty groovy. It gets pretty spacey at times too. So this is the US pressing on MPS. I was gonna show a label regular MPS pressing, but definitely recommend checking this out. Picked up this record a while back, which I don't know too much about, but I love it. Picked up all the Polish records I find usually. So the Warsaw Percussion Group, contemporary Polish music, is the name of the record. Recorded in 1980, but not released until '84. Love the cover on this too. Love the font, just everything about this cover. It's very simplistic, but it's awesome. On the Polskie and Nagrania label. So 4 tracks, basically, just like the name says. There's a percussion group, sort of featuring various percussions, chimes, bells, sort of small hand instruments. I believe this is the only record these guys ever put out, unfortunately, although they did perform at a bunch of festivals in Poland and around the country. The 4 tracks are all from pretty well-known composers, all Polish composers, so check that out. There's the lineup and the tracks. I wasn't familiar with the players, really. I might have heard of 1 or 2 of them, but the music is fantastic. Definitely sort of a big sound, just great stuff. Recorded pretty well, too. I'm not sure if I don't think this is recorded live, but sounds really good. Fortunately, I don't think this is online to sample, but it's sort of that avant-garde sort of percussion. Not sure how to describe it. Still not great at describing music, but definitely worth seeking out. One of those records that probably isn't expensive when you find it, but it's just not easy to find, especially not in the US at least. This was a cool record. Been on my want list for a little while, which I didn't even realize. Justo Almario Interlude from 1981 on the Uno Melodic label. Pretty cool label. Basically a just very nice, beautiful jazz funk album. So Justo Almario, I think that's how you pronounce his name, probably mispronouncing it, but mostly a sideman for Roy Ayers. He played on Vibrations, played on Lifeline, so played on his most well-known records. Very good. He also played on the James Mason Rhythm of Life record. Really cool. But this is his own record. I'm not sure if this was his first debut record, but Justo Almario. He's a saxophonist, not sure I said that. So he plays sax, also percussion, hand claps. Oscar Bashir's on here as well on trumpet. Anybody else more well known? Harold Land is on here on piano. Pretty cool. It's the lineup if you guys want to check it out. But you can definitely stream this. Justo Almario Interlude. Really solid jazz funk record. This was really cool. Another one that was on my want list that happy to check this off. Another one I got from Chris Cole. Thank you, Chris, for letting this one go. Luiz Bonfa, Jacaranda. I think it's how you pronounce that, from '73 on the Ranwood label. I think that might be the only record I have on Ranwood. I'll have to look. But gatefold. So this is a huge group on here. And a lot of people think this is probably like a Brazilian jazz record, and it kind of is, but I could say it's more of like a fusion record. So definitely a lot of jazz rock fusion going on with elements of like Afro-Cuban, soul jazz, samba, funk. Very groovy record. Arranged and conducted by Diodato. I think recorded on both coasts, actually, New York and Los Angeles. Said very groovy sort of fusion. Sometimes even hitting exotica, kind of goes all over the place. So really cool. Big group. It's got full string and horn sections on here. And then Ayerko on percussion, Louis Bonfa on guitars, he's a guitar player, Stanley Clark on bass, John Wood on piano, Mark Drury, Ray Barretto on congas, John Tropea, I'm assuming on guitar, Idris Muhammad on drums. Big lineup on here. Pretty well-known record. I'm sure you guys know this record. If you don't, highly recommend checking this out. Just a great record. What else we got? It's been in recently. Sorry, it's hot in here. I'm not gonna take this out. It's a pain to put back in, but Stereolab, one of the comps. Stereolab fan, don't have too many other records. Not the easiest to find. I'm trying to find them in person as opposed to online. But this is Refried Ectoplasm Volume 2 switched on. Refried Ectoplasm switched on Volume 2. Kind of messed that up. But basically like a collection of singles, maybe rarities, sort of unreleased tracks. Has some of my favorite tracks from the group. Experimental rock, krautrock, indie pop, I guess, best way to describe it. This is an original on, I think it's an original. It's on Drag City, I believe. But on this clear green Coke bottle, I guess, vinyl. Kind of weird cover, so I don't really want to take it out. But it's basically just, I do like the artwork. I love the artwork on this, but it's basically just like a giant, it is a gatefold, but it's not attached inside. There's an insert, but it's not really attached, so the thing's gonna fall out if I open it. I don't really want to do that. It's already falling out the bottom, but Stereolab, not much to say about that. It's Stereolab, you know. Has some of the best tracks on here, I think. Low Boob Oscillator, Harmonium, French Disco, I don't know, just a bunch of great tracks. I know Stereolab isn't everyone's thing, so I get it. This was a really cool find. I think I found this online. I don't think I found this in person, but George Michel, Melodies of the Oud. Oud record, clearly. This is a 1975 on Orient Records, which I think is kind of just like a private press, maybe his own label. But basically master oud player from Cairo, Egypt. Just solo oud. I believe he was a professor at the Cairo Music Conservatory. And I feel like I heard he passed away, unfortunately, not too long ago. Maybe a few years back, but fantastic oud. If you like that kind of stuff, Middle Eastern, then definitely check out George Michel. I didn't know it. I just kind of stumbled across this, and definitely became one of my favorite records in the last handful of months. Another one that I've wanted for a while. I picked this up a while back too. John Lewis Sound, Traveling, 1976 on Finite Records. Wanted this back in the early VC days, just never came across a copy until recently. Not the same John Lewis from Modern Jazz Quintet. This is, he's a drummer, but he was on the, I was trying to think of the name, the Strata-East records, the Cosmic Twin records, and also Handscapes. He was on those records. So that's what I knew him from originally. Then I found out about this record. Basically super kind of funky, spacey, sometimes spiritual. Just great record. Not sure about the cover there, maybe off-putting some people, but it's definitely a fantastic record. If you like that Strata-East sound, you'll like this, because this is sort of similar, but I would say even maybe better. Definitely goes more places. So this was actually really cool. Another flea market find. The same place I found that Joe Bataan record. Found this John Bender. I don't remember now. I don't want to talk about it. Original 1980 on record Sluts. Let's see. A cool label on this. Yeah, I've had some good stuff in that flea market. Got some marker there. Someone wrote their name on it. Catherine wrote her name here. I think it's supposed to come with an insert. This copy doesn't come with an insert, but whatever. Who cares? Flea market find. Minimal, lo-fi, electronic. I guess best way to describe it. Experimental, sort of synth poppy at times. Interesting vocals. There's a cover of a Faust track. It's A Rainy Day, Sunshine Girl. It's the cover of that. But just check it out, see if your thing. What else we got? Am I at 20 minutes? I'll probably cut it off here soon. Don't want to make it too long. Show a few more here. This was a really cool find. This was another one's been in my want list forever. Jamal, Sweet Heritage. Great record. In the shrink, I'm still deciding if I'm gonna take that shrink off or not. It's just so clean in the shrink. I don't know. And it looks pretty good too. So I probably will end up taking it off, but. So on Mark Records, I believe, with his own label. So if you're not familiar, this guy, he played with Sun Ra and Orchestra. He played with Ahmad Jamal. I believe this might be his only record, the one-off album. Funk, Latin jazz, soul jazz, Afrocentric, sort of spiritual sounds. Very nice Fender Rhodes on this. Honestly, when I first heard this, I kind of wasn't feeling this record. I heard it online, and it took me a little while to get into it. But over time, I ended up loving this record. I really wanted to hunt it down, and I finally found a clean copy for a really decent price. So really cool. So it's a keyboard player, Jamal on keys, and then the other players I'm not as familiar with, except for Dewey Mandingo on congas, who also played on, what did he play on? One of the other records I mentioned earlier. I don't remember which one exactly. Jim Kursdorfer on bass and percussion, Nasara Abedi on drums and percussion, Dennis Williamson on cello, James Clark on guitar, Beverly Johnson, and then Joey Crosby on vocals. Not familiar with the other players at all. But just go check it out. It's been reissued. You can find it. Like I said, sort of Afrocentric, spiritual, soul jazz, a little bit of straight ahead jazz as well, which kind of put me off to it initially, but I see where it's going with it. So on the label it says Jamal Quartet, Sweet Heritage, and then everywhere else on the cover it just says Jamal. So I'm not sure what it's supposed to go by, but private pressing. You know. What else we got here? A couple more. I'll end it off with these two heavy hitters. I had this record back in the day, and I'm really pissed at myself for selling it. I was an idiot. I'd be able to find it again easier. I kind of sold it to buy something else, which I wanted, but it made sense at the time. So finally got a copy of this back. Khan Jamal, Give the Vibe some. Oh, sorry for the glare. Can't really too much about that, but I love this record. It's just so good. 74 on Palm, classic Palm label. Definitely would love to find all the Palm records, but they're so hard to find. But only 3 players on here, but it's just so good. Music is just so lush, sort of textured, pretty intense at times. Free jazz, spiritual. Khan Jamal on vibes and marimba. Hassan Rashid on drums, and then trumpet, Clint Jackson. Hassan Rashid is what's his name from Magma. I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, blanking on his name, but he's a player from Magma. But this is fantastic. Definitely highly recommend this. I think it was reissued recently, and it looked like a pretty cool reissue, but around that same time I finally was able to pick this up for a really clean copy. Got it for not a great price considering what it goes for. It's not a cheap record, but I definitely got a good price on it for as clean as it is. So Jamal, give the vibe some. Really happy to have that one back. And along with that, picked up Saturday Night Special, the Lindman Woodard Organization. Never had this, so really happy to get this. Finally picked up those two together. This is from 75 on Strata, not Strata-East, just regular Strata label. Take it out of the plastic here. So this record kind of sucks fidelity-wise. Music-wise, it's amazing. It's a treasure in my opinion, just music-wise. But fidelity-wise, this music wasn't recorded. It sounds muddy, just not great. But I could look past that because music is so good. Jazz funk, sort of gritty kind of jazz funk. It definitely is recorded in Detroit. It's from Detroit, and it definitely sounds like, I guess, Detroit in music, if that makes sense. Probably not, but so good. Organ, electric piano, Mellotron by Lyman Woodard, and then guitar and bass by Ron English, drums by Leonard King. Who else is on here? Bud Spangler, also percussion, Charles Moore on triangle. So interesting, but those same players that are on most of the other Strata records. This one's a little bit beat, cover is a little bit beat, not in the best shape, but the vinyl's in really nice shape. Like I said, from what I understand, even like the best looking copies will not sound great, so that's just how it was recorded. What can you do? But the music is just so good, sort of lo-fi, but traditional jazz, sort of R&B, maybe Afro-Cuban, like I said, kind of gritty jazz funk. So definitely check that out. But pretty well known record, you guys probably know what it is. So I'll end it with that one. It's hot in here and I feel like I've been recording for too long. So thank you for watching. If you made it through, leave me comments if you want, and I'll be back soon, maybe with another Acid Archives video next, probably. Peace.